Let me bang, I man. Do let you bang. Hey, let me bang you, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No for Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter, here with my man Shang. We got a great show today. We got Jimmie Rivera, a badass fighter from New Jersey, just had a war. And my buddy Mikey Gordon, who goes by Dirty Ron, because he looks like Ronald McDonald when he's dirty. He has a wrestling movie out, indie wrestling, that I was in. It's an awesome movie. He's trying to get funding to finish it. He's also an amateur boxer who just beat up another comic because they had some kind of feud. And he's calling out other comics and other wrestlers. This guy's a trip. So it's going to be a great show. Shang, what's new with you, buddy?
Man, did a couple shows, and then I'm getting used to being back out there.
Yeah, we did that one show we got booked at in Orange County. So this guy booked me at like private show and it's like a weird studio that looks like it could be a strip club, but there's like dungeon rooms and hot rooms and all these like sex rooms.
There's like penises chained to the wall, and it's really weird, but it was a good crowd.
It was a good crowd. It was like a bunch of like girls that maybe you were ex-strippers, a couple felons in the crowd.
Yes.
And then the guy told us he got raided the week before, which was a little, and he just kind of like told, yeah, I got raided last week, no big deal. And the look on your face, we're like, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. People don't just get raided.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I had a SWAT team in the living room last week. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? He was interesting. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah.
He was all over the place, and then these guys fucked me, and then I invented the fucking app that, and I was sitting there going, what? And then I looked over at you like, you got me into this craziness.
Yeah.
But the one girl was so hot, I was like, well, I could stay for a bit.
Well, the one girl was hot. The waitress was hot. She came over. She was like, "Hey, my name is whatever, but you can call me Cookie." And then, but she was like, everyone was hot there. Like every girl was like a 10. It was just strange. The whole thing was just like we were in some weird, like Tarantino movie.
And all the guys were like tattooed Ukrainians that looked like they just got out of jail from raping multiple dudes.
Yeah,
they were. Yeah,
it was crazy. It was crazy. So, by the way, before I've been dealing with this thing. I've been having like going down memory lane. What was your high school like, Shang? What were you like in high school?
What was I like in high school? Very serious, focused. I was a student, flat out. And my pops put me into Taekwondo, so I was literally school, Taekwondo. And if I would miss it, even though I hated it sometimes, he would get mad at me. So I kind of started hating it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
Of course.
I started hating it because I was like, I really don't want to go to that. I want to go to the movie.
Yeah, of course.
Quit being a pussy. Like,
what belt did you get up to in Taekwondo?
Orange, or I think it was orange. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. I remember I did Taekwondo. It was every 3 months we got a belt. And I'm sure your Taekwondo was legit. But this was bullshit because I couldn't even break a board. And they like broke it for me and gave me a belt. I was like,
mine was hardcore. Mine was super hardcore. That's why I didn't like it. It was too hardcore. I was like, I want to go outside and hang out, man. I'm fucking 16. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I find that with a lot of kids coaching. People always ask me like, hey, how old should I be when I get my kid into wrestling? And I go, it doesn't matter how old they are. It's whether or not they're going to have fun doing it. You can get a kid,
wow. Okay.
So if it does, like, if all of a sudden you get a kid in at 5 and you take it like it's the Olympics, the kid's going to get burned out by 7, But if the kid thinks it's fun, if it's a fun activity, then you gotta, you know, don't make it too serious until it's time to get too serious, and you'll kind of know at that point. You know, I see so many kids as a coach peak in middle school, like, and then there's less there's less competition then. So yeah, you're ranking the state, but wait till you get to high school, and then all of a sudden they've been cutting weight since they were, you know, 11, 12. By 14, they want to be a kid, and all the other kids that who had a childhood, now they're taking it serious and they're just steamrolling these kids. So it's you gotta, especially a sport like any type of combat sports, even gymnastics or any type of solo sports, individual sports, it's all about having fun. I mean, don't make it so it's a complete fucking joke and the kid doesn't care, but you know, you have to make sure it's a fun activity.
Is that how you coach? When you coach, do you coach where you're hardcore in their face, or do you coach where you kind of guide them along? Because my coaches were serious shit.
I go every year, 3 rules, you know, is try your best, have fun, and just don't talk when I'm talking. That's like, you know, but I just stress the fun. If it's not fun, there's no point doing it. And I tell them it's a lot more fun when you're winning. You know, winning is a lot more fun than losing. But it's really about, you know, I never get on a kid when he loses. Kid, you know, some coaches, like, the kid loses, they're in the kid's face. You could have done that. Look, the kid usually feels bad enough. You know, now's not the time. It's like the kid loses, gets to the mat, he's crying or whatever, he's pissed. Hey man, you know, you did focus on what he did right. Even if the kid, focus on what he did right, and then don't worry, come to practice on Monday and we'll work on what he did wrong. You know, because I find that most of the time when you tell a kid what he did wrong right away, he's not listening anyway. Unless the kid's that good, where it's like, hey man, you know, dude, you would have had it, but you just, you know, you just gotta circle on that single leg. You just got to turn the corner and you would have had that, you know? So there's, you know, you kind of know the kid, you know, you kind of know the kid, what the kid wants. You don't wishy-wash it. If a kid gets, but a lot of it is like, hey man, you know, hey, you got out there, you know, you just focus on what they did right is what I could do. I've never been a proponent of screaming at a kid when he did wrong. And also, you know, I coach it. For me, I feel like I had a referee one time that was screaming at a kid because his hair was too long and he didn't have the proper bathing cap or something, and he wasn't with the kid. And I told the ref, I go, listen, dude, you know how fucking hard it is to get these kids out and the wrestling mat? They got video games, they got the internet, they got drugs, and now we're gonna make the kid cut his hair? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, let him just be. Yeah, my pops, I connected with my pops. I lost in the second round of a tournament, and my nose was bleeding really bad. And he took the blood off my nose and wiped it on my forehead. And I started laughing. And then for some reason he started laughing. I said, what? And I never cussed at my father. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he started laughing. I said, who does that? And then after that, we were just, and he said, do you want to keep doing this? I'm like, well, now, yeah. Fuck it. Now, yeah.
Well, it's crazy. So, like the proudest my pops ever was of me was after I lost. Like, because I remember, you know, I was undefeated my senior year. I went to nationals, and it was all about nationals. My coach was like, if you don't win nationals, none of this means anything. You already won every tournament already the year before that. So it's just nationals. Week before nationals, I get impetigo, which is like the worst skin rash. So all night long, I'm itching and itching. It's all over my body. No doctor would clear me. I had to go to like 7 different doctors. They're putting on me all kinds of medicine. You know, I was the last kid to weigh into nationals. There was like, I don't know, 3,000 kids, and they made me weigh in last because they weren't going to clear me. And I couldn't cut weight because every time I sweat, it would spread.
It would get worse. You're right.
Now I had to go up a weight class, which is, I just didn't go to, I was at 140 all year. I was going to go cut to 35. And I was like, no, I got to eat something. I can't just not eat. And my coach was trying to get me to go to 30, just like, don't do anything. I'm like, eh. So I made a decision to actually eat a little bit, which I still feel guilty about. Anyway, so I go to nationals, and I win the first couple matches, and I wrestle a kid who's ranked, who ended up taking 3rd. And I'm down like 7-4, 7-3, and there's like 10 seconds left. And, you know, Band-Aids are falling off me. I have 37 Band-Aids on me to cover the impetigos and the wraps. And I knew I was like, at this point, I just lunged at the guy. Like, I just threw myself at the guy to try anything, you know? And my dad said, like, he goes, you know, every other kid, other coaches were telling him, like, they would have just, the match was over. You lost. You weren't, but not you. You just kept fucking trying, you know?
Right.
And he goes, to me, you were like my my hero for doing that. And my dad was so proud of me for that, more than like winning things. And it just made me kind of like feel good that I even like, I guess this is that never give up attitude. And you see that with fighters a lot of times now. It's like guys like Jimmie Rivera. You see guys that like they're down in the 4 rounds to nothing and they just keep fucking trying and pull it off. I almost feel like Anderson Silva was that guy against Chael. A lot of people would have been like, I'm down 4 rounds.
I'm gone. Yeah, I'm done. But I think that but when I watched that documentary where he was, documentary, that blew my mind that he said, he did the move. He said, I'm going to do this on him.
Yeah, maybe bad example. And so, but I'm saying other guys that you've seen where you're like, this fight's over.
No.
Just,
what's the African guy that he got knocked down and was just getting murked? And at the last minute, he just fucking clocked the guy.
One.
Congo. Chet Congo.
Oh, God, against Pat Barry.
Yes.
Yeah. That was one of them.
He's done. Just fucking go home, dude. You lost this one. And he just didn't give up.
And that fight, what's crazy is, like, I remember my reaction to that fight. Like, I remember the fight, but I remember, like, screaming at the TV, like, what? You like that's when you know it's a good fight, when you remember how you reacted to the fight.
Yeah, it was they were just fucking going at it. And honestly, one of the best fights is I like Korean Zombie.
Oh,
he has that. He's one of those people that like, we're going till the end.
You're absolutely right. There's a guy, like, there's a certain caliber of fighter, Frankie Edgar, Korean Zombie, Jeremy Stevens. There's a certain guy that Frankie was a champion, Zombie almost champion, but there are certain guys out there that every time is going to be a fucking war. Like, it's win or lose, it's going to be a war. I mean, I put old Diego Sanchez before this fucking.
Not new. No, the old one.
Yeah.
He was, other than he was fucking insane too, though. So you got to put that in there.
Yeah.
He was kind of. I mean, he's like, yeah, and then went to Crystals talk to me, and then after that I talked to the Dark Lord, and then I come in. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I did like watching him fight. I still think that he just didn't have that close. He couldn't close.
I feel like he kept switching it's like he had all the skills. It's just one of those dudes that, like, well, I don't know, man. He was also in some really tough divisions. I mean, he was against, like, I think BJ Penn back when, like, BJ Penn.
Right.
Like,
when BJ Penn was BJ Penn.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Diego was like a heavyweight or 135 or 125 or even 145 in his career, he probably would have been the champion. It was just that he was always at 55 and 70, and those were always like those guys. There was just some monsters when he was there, Right, and just like we saw the example with this. Hold on, I got you're wait. Hold on, you're muted. What were you saying?
No. That was my son calling. That size does matter, and I said that, and if people were like, well, not all the time. I'm like, in some instances, yes, it fucking does.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a good.
It does. I mean, that's why they have weight classes. That's the thing, And it's not the Stylebender's bad. He's awesome. It's just there's a reason. There's weight classes, and I think that also he's such a weird fighter because, like, he's one of those dudes that, like, every other fight he looks like the greatest fighter of all time, and then he'll go and, like, I wouldn't say he puts on a stinker, but it's not a stinker, but he almost fights down to the level of his opponent sometimes, like he did against.
Kind of blasé. He seems kind of blasé to me.
Against, like, Romero. Or, like, he's I don't know. He's
Silva. When he fought Silva, I thought he wasn't full
blast
Anderson
to me. Silva, like, it's like he doesn't bring guys up to his level, but he sort of fight like him and Gastelum were like neck and neck, and he won.
Right.
And then him and Romero were like neck and neck, and he won. But then he goes out and just destroys Paulo Costa. So you're like, holy shit, this is the greatest guy ever. And then this last fight, I mean, if he wins that 5th round, he wins the fight. So.
Right.
But
no, I'm telling you, I personally thought he was going to get knocked out. I really did. But he took a couple good shots and didn't fucking fall down. I was like, wow.
Speaking of which, a guy who takes good shots. So we got Jimmie Rivera with us. I guess he's now a cop. Jimmie, what's going on? Are you what are you, the fucking bounty hunter now? What are you wearing?
Yeah, I'm a bounty hunter. Coming for you, bro. All that money you owe me.
Oh, thank you. What, no, but is there you're wearing a cop uniform? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm actually doing a little dispatching right now.
Wait.
But I'm in the car.
Wait, you're a police wait, hold up. What, are you a police officer?
No, not yet. I'm in the process. I go to the academy in August.
When did this start?
I guess you want to say last July, August?
How come I don't know about this? Does anybody know about this?
No, yeah, I guess not now, but they will.
Wow. Good for you, man. Wait, are you guys male strippers and you're going to some bachelorette party or something and you're going to...
Yeah. Please welcome Officer Ding Dong or some shit like that.
Come on.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on? So wait, I thought you had your own academy and you were you have a gym.
I did. I had my school in the city, but I decided to get out of the city. Once the pandemic happened, I got out of the city.
So the pandemic happens, and then you're like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be a cop." And how long have you been in a police academy for?
I didn't go yet. I've been in the working for the police station since August.
Okay, and then what are you doing for them?
Dispatching.
Now, what does that mean? Because I'm not familiar with cop terms.
Communications right now. Getting my foot wet, right? I'm getting my feet in the door. Just getting my feet a little wet. Just getting hands-on and learning stuff before I go to the academy.
So you're a receptionist.
Exactly. Right, if you think about it, kind of the boss. I tell the cops, you go there and this is what's going on, handle it.
But you're one of the baddest people on the planet. I would assume that
right.
You would be why would they send out some guy that can't run a mile in 30 minutes when they have you, who is one of the greatest fighters in the world, at their disposal?
I teach them, actually.
Oh, you're teaching.
We started a program in August too, where the cops are mandatory to train with me 3 times a month from Elmwood Park, from the precinct. So I actually teach the cops, and then at the same time, to understand it more, I got into dispatching and understanding what they go through on a day-to-day basis and understanding the situations they're in. A lot of shadowing I did, and then I decided, fuck it, I want to go all the way and take it. So I decided
are you following cops around right now? There's a criminal. The cop takes him
down. No, I'm with the police chief. This is Mike Flano. He's the police chief.
All right, you're with the chief, right? So something happens.
Yeah.
Chief gets out, does a double leg on the guy, and do you give him instructions? No, you want to rear naked choke him, or are you?
Actually, no. He's been training martial arts with me for over 3-4 years now, so he knows how to do all that shit. And where's you wrestle in college?
The Burger King.
You did the Burger King? I thought you wrestled. You wrestled there?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I got everybody calling me. Sorry, man. I keep getting calls nonstop. Yeah, he's fucking not Olympic wrestler, national rank wrestler from back in the day.
Okay, so all right. So they're teaching you, because it seems like, all right, so you're telling the cops where to go, are you telling them how to handle people?
No, that's all on them.
All right,
no.
All right.
I tell them what's going on there.
Got it. Well, listen, police chief, you got to put Jimmy in charge, because no offense to you, you seem like a nice guy, but you're a little bit older. Okay, Jimmy's in his prime. I'm sure back you were the 1942 national champion, but this guy right here.
Hold on.
Wait a minute, 1942?
So, Adam does MMA Roasted, but he's also a comedian.
Nice, I get it.
So
I'm not offended.
So let me just throw that in before it gets any further.
Okay.
Before you're like, yo, fuck you, Adam.
You know what?
I can take it.
I don't want him shooting my phone, all right? You know how hard it is to get a new phone and load all your contacts in? It's very hard.
That's true. So the chief, how's Jimmy doing?
He's doing great. He's doing awesome. He's going to go to police academy in August. He's going to be an asset to the department. He teaches all my guys, mixed martial arts, which is awesome for the guys to learn. And he's great. He's a good communicator. He's just an all-around good guy.
You can be honest. I'm a thorn in his ass.
Is he teaching him how to check calf kicks?
Yo, I did check the calf kicks. That's why my shin's fucked up, not my calves.
Got it. Right, got it. So, Jimmy, let's talk about your fight last week, because that was an awesome fight. Fight of the night. You got $50,000. So you should quit this job immediately. But I was super, super happy for you. What do you think you could have done better?
Move forward and punch more the whole time. That would have stopped from the kicks. I could have done something a little different, like smaller stance. I could use the lead leg, the front, like the front kick or advancing front kick to kind of stop that kick. But after the first round, I'm not going to lie to you, my shin was fucked up.
Yeah, but you checked a lot of the kicks, though. You checked them.
Yeah, but just the nerve damage, the nerves in there. Like, I'm finally walking. So it's been a week, and I'm finally walking regular again. Like, I have, like, swollen on the shin. So nothing hit the calf. My leg was fine. It was just a shin. And that's what was giving out on me was my shin because I was checking all of them. And I was surprised. I asked Pedro, I'm like, hey, man, how's your leg feel? He's like, your right leg, because that's the leg he was kicking me with. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. It's good. My left leg hurts. I go, the one I kicked? He's like, yeah. I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, I thought his right leg shin would be torn up because he was just kicked. We're just going shin to shin the whole time. But his leg was messed up from the 5 or 6 calf kicks I kicked him compared to the 20 he kicked mine.
I mean, when you went into the corner, you said, where should you go? Like, were you legitimately asking, where should you go? Like,
legitimately asking if I could leave the cage because I didn't want to get kicked anymore. No, I was like, just tell me what to do. In my head, honestly, I'm like, where you want me to go? You straight, forward, left, right? My leg was killing me. You're like, make angles and stuff, but I should have just kept going forward. I had the better hands. I was landing a lot better than him. I was still actually surprised at the scorecards because I thought I lost the second round. The third round could have went either way. Yeah, but I thought I won the first round. So I thought it would have been 29-28.
But the calf kick slowed him. The calf kick slowed him down. I'm sorry. Calf kick slow you down. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care how badass you are. They're the worst.
Honestly, with everything being said and stuff and looking back and laughing at it, I think my favorite meme of it was, there was like a Thanos picture. I posted it. It was like Thanos and like Conor McGregor watched Jimmie Rivera continue fighting from the calf kicks and not get finished. Oh, like, wow. That was like my favorite meme. They came out with a whole bunch of memes, and honestly, they weren't bad compared to what Sterling's getting right now and everything going on with that shit. They weren't bad. They were very positive memes, and I had to post them. I thought they were fucking hilarious.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, the Sterling thing, because I want to get your thing. Now, it does seem like when there's 1 minute left in the fight, this is what I love about you. Because like I said to Shang, like, 1 minute left to fight, you're like, fuck it, I'm going for broke. And like it happened against Jan, where you hurt Jan when there's 1 minute left, and it happened against this time. Do you think maybe you should do that a little earlier? Or just go nuts?
No shit. Adam, I love it. If I didn't know you, like I know you, I would be like, yeah, I agree with this and that. Like, no shit, show. Yeah. Me and my boxing coach sat down and we watched the fight, and he was like, just trust your motherfucking hands. That's basically what he said in Ebonics. And I just said, all right. And I'm just like, my next fight, I'm looking forward to it because, sometimes you get a wake-up call. I'm a Rivera, so we always learn the hard way. So now I'm like, I know what I got to do. And I just got to fucking bite down the mouthpiece and go forward. I guess I was going to try to play a little safe in the fight, but once he was throwing it, I was like, fuck it, let's just go, Like I was going to fill out the first round more. But after that, the second round, I was like trying to get in and trying to defend the calf kick. And then the third round going into it, Lewis was like, listen, you either coast or you could go out and fight on your shield. And I'm never one to coast. And I'm never one to fucking back down from something. So I was like, I'm going to go out and fight on my shield. And then I was like trying to figure out what to do. The last minute, like you said, I was like trying to call it bopping in, shuffling in, just trying to throw. What fucked me up is when he moved, when I had to move to catch him, my leg was dying because I was pushing. Everything was off my back leg.
Do you think you would have knocked him out if you could step on? If you could, you can't pivot, right?
Yeah, I think if my calf wasn't affected, it would have been a different fight. I think I could have done stuff obviously better, and I think I just got to trust in my hands more, to be honest with you. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Because I see where you're going though, because then you can get knocked out. So if you do that like a minute one, like a fucking psychopath, there's probably like a 70% chance you're gonna win. But then it's like Derek Brunson used to do that, where he went out like a hockey fight, and he's like, yeah, I was losing a lot of these fights because I was just going punch for punch. So I could see why you wouldn't do that till there's a minute left. But there's probably a happy medium, right?
Yeah, you know what though, I know what you're saying. You gotta find a happy medium where you're going forward, but you're not putting yourself in that dangerous position. You know what I mean? Like there was times he would throw it in the pocket that I would weave and duck and move and make him I think one of my favorite things that happened, one of the things I enjoyed in the fight, not getting calf kicked, but was when he just threw and I just went under and he just fell into the fence. And I was like, but then I hear my counter. I'm like, I'm kind of far away. I can't counter, but I enjoyed that. I looked at that. It was nice, you know?
No, I was going to say, you know what I thought? I thought your hands are better than his. So I was wondering, why didn't you? There was a couple times I was like, why don't you just unload on this bitch?
You can't step on his foot, dude. It's fucking. It's hard to throw a punch.
I know, but he really. Adam,
honestly, in that third round, I was unloading and I was coming forward. But then when he would move, it was hard to follow him. It was hard to cut the corner off. It was hard to do something. Okay. That I was having that hard time in the third round. And the second round, I was literally looking to counter more and trying to figure out what I could do with that front leg. I even went lefty, and I never go lefty. And I went lefty in that fight. And I was like, yeah, we're working. I'm like, I'm not comfortable there, so I had to go back to righty. So, it's kind of lesson learned, but the one thing that I do take from the fight is two things is that I could have done stuff better, and we sat down and watched the video, what I could do better. And then the other thing was that it was an exciting fight. People liked it. I got a lot of fan base off of it. I didn't win the fight, but I won the crowd, you could say. Yeah. And Dana came up to me after the fight, and I go to Lewis. I'm like, you think I'm going to fight tonight? I'm like, the extra 50 G's can always help. And he's like, yeah, I think you are. And it was a very exciting fight. And just imagine if that fight it would suck for my leg, but if it was a 5-round fight. And if anybody
was doubting what you have left as a fighter, that fight showed that you are like not even close to, finished. Like you're still in.
No, I'm not close to be done. I'm actually trying to get a fight again. I'm healing up now. I'm trying to fight in May. And I'm hoping to fight. I did ask my manager to ask for Frankie Edgar if we could get that fight going. That'd be an awesome fight.
Why does everyone want to beat up Frankie? The guy just got fucking killed. Like, come on, man. I mean, no offense, but leave Frankie alone. Like, let him heal.
Stop it. Frankie's Frankie.
So hold on. So trying to defend what Adam's saying. I'm like, Adam, he's a legend in the sport. He's coming off a loss. I'm coming off a loss. It would be a good fight. We're both Jersey boys, and it would be a good fight.
No, I love Frankie, but those losses were a lot different. He's kind of I don't know. I mean, that was like.
Are you saying he doesn't have it anymore?
I don't know what he has it, but if I were him, I would take a serious think of like, okay, like I got like concussed, like I was out for a long time. What's best for me right now? And I'm just. It's up to him. I'll pay. I love Frankie. I'll support whatever he does. I just don't want to see him like that. That was hard to watch, man.
Adam, you're saying he don't got it. That's bullshit.
Thank you. Someone's helping me out. I like your buddy.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, that's like saying, okay, so if you get knocked out, and then the next fight, it doesn't mean that you're not a bad fighter. You got caught. Get the fuck out of here, man. Frankie, he's one of my favorite fighters. I know, but he's one of my favorite fighters. You know that.
Of course. I don't want to see. Okay, fine. Then fucking knock him out again. Well, everyone just knock him out.
But he had a good fight. He had a good fight with Pedro. He went 5-5s with Pedro. That was a good fight.
That was a good fight.
It was a good fight. He outstruck him. Pedro landed more significant strikes, and he landed the more volume. And I see why the judges gave it to him in that fight. But
yeah, you're right.
I mean, when you look at a perspective fight and who we want to fight, right? I'm on a loss. Who else is on a loss? And who has a huge name? And Frankie has a huge name. He's a legend.
I wouldn't even know if I consider it a loss, though. It's almost like that was a win in some weird fucking way.
That was a win. It was no, because you gained more people. My boy was like, that dude is a monster. And so you can't, like, to me, sometimes you could lose and be like, you end up in a better position than the other person.
I would almost, no disrespect to Aljamain, but I'd rather have your loss than Aljamain's win in a lot of ways. Now let's talk about that, because you fought both those guys and
you hit mute, Adam.
I like muting myself. Look, and I told Aljamain, I'm like, listen, you're my buddy. Stop listening to fucking people. You got nothing to prove except to yourself and your family and your friends. Like, that's all that matters. Like, stop caring about the whole fucking world, because you got to focus. Let's win this rematch. But what do you think about what happened with Aljamain?
Listen, what happened with him? He got kneed in the head, and if you're a coach, and me and my coach spoke about this, it was the right call not to continue. He was down. He got kneed in the head. It was a bad knee. Fight another day. You know what I mean? Do a rematch right away. Did I know, or did anybody know he was going to get the belt for that? no idea. I think everybody was kind of shocked with that. But I think, like you were saying, he really dug his grave in a way. He kept trying to fight all these battles on social media, and everybody's talking stuff. And, he's saying stuff, about the promotions stuff too as well in social media and interviews he's doing. Bro, just say, listen, it's not how I wanted to win. I got the belt, but we're going to run it back. I look forward to seeing Jan in the octagon 3 or 4 months from now. That's it. But him trying to battle it, like DC gave him good advice. My wife's in marketing. We sat down what would be the best marketing tool we would do? What would we say? Like we talked about like doing marketing stuff for myself. I'm like, I'm not good at talking shit. I'm good at busting people's balls that I'm friends with that know well. But I'm like, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to be, that martial artist that I've always been. Well, with Sterling, he's good with that. He's good with those little antics and stuff. But this whole thing and what happened afterwards, like even him getting on the mic and talking for long, like I thought he would get on the mic and be, listen, not how I want to win, but we're going to run it back. I'm going to go to the hospital now, make sure I'm okay. But he just kept going on and on and on and on. At a point, he needs marketing. He needs someone to help him with marketing and PR, because that would help him a lot.
Even the whole thing with Dana calling out Cejudo, it's like, bro, that is going to look like
yeah, he called out Henry. I'm like, bro, you got Jan still to fight. You got to fight that rematch. I go, it's right now what he needs to do is get his head good, get ready to fight that rematch, look at the first 3.5 rounds and see what he could have done better and fix that in his game plan.
Yeah, what do you think it was?
Everything alone.
Because you fought Aljamain and you fought Jan. What do you think it was that nothing was working for Aljamain? Was this an off night, or what do you think?
So I spoke about this in a couple of interviews. I said, people underestimate Jan's wrestling. Jan can wrestle. And I know that because I went on a pretty deep shot and he just defended it well. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker can wrestle. He's not bad. You watch the fight, Jan was taking him down at will. He was catching his kicks, taking him down at will. No offense to Sterling, but he can't punch. He doesn't have a puncher's chance. He's a great wrestler, great at jiu-jitsu. But you got someone else that's good at wrestling, Jan. Same thing with my fight. Like I was able to take him down. I was able to get on top a couple times, but I didn't do shit with it. And that's my personal problem, that I didn't do stuff right in the camp and the weight cut and stuff like that. But let alone say, like, he got in there, he was trying to do everything Sterling, and I saw it. He was trying to keep the pressure. Let alone he was keeping that volume up, but to keep that volume up in that first and second round is very hard. And he was dead tired in that 4th round. You don't know how much weight he's cutting. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if he's cutting a lot of weight, then it's going to kill him in those later rounds, those championship rounds. And Jan, he was very comfortable. He blocked really well. I actually like what he did. The way he defended, I loved that he was catching the legs and taking Sterling down at will. And he was defending. He was wrestling better than Sterling was wrestling. What he has to do is he's got to go back. He's got to work on. I mean, that's a hard fight, because at the end of the day, I fought both of them. I probably gave Jan his hardest fight in the UFC. You know what I mean? I won good, not trying to brag or be a dick about it. I won a good 14 minutes and 30 seconds of the fight. Yeah. And I literally lost like 30 seconds of the fight. At the end of the first round, I got caught. At the end of the second round, like a flash knockdown. And I was surprised that it was a flash, they gave him the round. But okay. But you got to be able to have some boxing, to be honest with him. You got to be able to go. And I think another person that gave him a good fight was Aldo until the championship rounds. Aldo's coming down a lot in weight. He's cutting a lot of weight. So when it got to that 4th round, Aldo didn't lose because he wasn't good. Aldo lost because his gas tank was done.
Well, what's crazy about Aldo is that he wrestled Roman Bravo Young, who just won the Big Ten championships last year. They had a wrestling match 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and Aldo lost by like 2 points. And I'm like, oh, his wrestling's going to be fucking.
I wrestled Roman. Roman actually trained with us a lot. Roman is really fucking good. He's smaller, but he's really good. He's very smooth. But you gotta remember, like, it's one thing to wrestle and it's one thing to do MMA. Yeah. Now you're a wrestler. Now you're dealing with strikes coming at you. So if you have a hard time bobbing and weaving and defending those strikes, then hitting your shot, it's tough. He's got to work better setups with his shots. That's his thing. You got to work on better setups. You got to be comfortable there. You could see he was over anxious. I think he was over anxious in those first 2 rounds, so he was just doing so much where he needed to calm down a little bit, take it back.
Like a video game, you press every button at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I think Jan knew what he was doing with the knee to the head. My personal, you're a championship. You know the rules. They go over always what a down opponent is. You're there. You see that he's getting frustrated because Sterling's trying to play that jiu-jitsu game. And he's like, you know, he looks in his corner. Yeah, he says one person says kick, one person says punch, one person says yeah, because they go over everything, what they were saying about it. He needs him right in the head. I mean, how do you not see that his knee is down?
But he won every
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he didn't look like he needed to do that. Like, he looked like –
Yeah.
I mean, now, do you think that
frustration. Sometimes frustration will get to a fighter, and that sort of looked like it happened to him. He got frustrated. He looked at his corner, kind of asked, but I just think he was like, all right, like, you think it's okay? I'll do it.
At what point do you stop throwing spinning elbows? Because you're just like, every time he throw, like, it looked like a guy he learned to move like 2 weeks ago, and that's all he wanted to do. But it was like, I know it's your new toy, but bro,
and he shouldn't have, because he couldn't box with him. He couldn't box with him.
You know, when I fought Sterling, what he did really well was distance, and I think maybe that's something he could do in the fight with Jan. But the way Jan was and just comfortable, he was very relaxed and his hands were up. He was defending really well.
The way he was defending was bananas. He was definitely.
It was great because you don't know what Sterling's going to throw. Sterling just throws a whole bunch of other shit. But do you have to worry about getting punched by Sterling? No, not at all. Like, Sterling hit me one good time. It's because I didn't see the spinning back fist, spinning arm that was coming. I was like, oh shit. Like, you don't know what he's going to throw. So I like what Jan was doing with Sterling. But nothing against Sterling, not trying to be a dick, but if I was him, I would literally spend a good 2 months, 3 months before his fight just straight up boxing, working boxing every day, and then all his other shit as well. But just really focusing on boxing.
Do you think you could teach power?
You could teach power. You could, but does he have it? Like, I know people that train. One person comes in mind a lot where that person had unbelievable jiu-jitsu and had that grappler strength, but if you ask her to throw a punch on the bag, you could see that punch coming a mile away. You could have a whole iced tea before it would hit the bag, and it wasn't exploded. So
sorry, that's funny.
It depends on. Sorry, man. It depends on your fast twitch, your muscles, how they are, how they're made, what you train so much in. He trains so much in jiu-jitsu and all that he might not have that explosiveness. He might need time to develop it.
Why don't you call him? Why don't you make it like Rocky 3, right? Or Sterling comes to you, and you'll be his Clubber Lang, right? Or no, his Apollo. And you'll teach him. No. Remember like Rocky 3 when he lost to Mr. T, that he came back?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, why?
I know what you're talking about.
Like, come on.
What?
You know, it'll be like the woke one, because this time Rocky's black and you're white. What? No, nobody's in there on this thing like that.
What?
That's a horrible script.
That could happen one day. That could happen one day when I retire. But I'm still fighting. I might have to fight him again.
Right. I think that you against John, you were all the way to the end. Were in his motherfucking grill. Oh yeah. That's the truth. So out of everybody, it would be you. Yeah.
You know what I fucked up with Jan? It was a hard lesson learned. It was don't coast the last 15, 20 seconds. So it's like, oh, I won this round. Let me chill. Boom, got hit. Motherfucker. Get back up, wrestle, end the round. I'm like, fucking shit. And I really couldn't believe that they gave him both the rounds just for the one shots each. I could see if I got hit and I didn't know where the fuck I was at and I was still fighting, but I got hit, dropped to the knee, or like a flash knockdown, I call it. I got back up and kept going. I definitely fucked up his shoulder in that fight. I remember him getting surgery because they said he was out for a little bit of surgery. I remember doing like a hard wizard on him and must have fucked up his shoulder. He got surgery right afterwards. Wow. But no, man, Jan's tough. Jan's a good striker. And when it came down to it, you saw his wrestling. It was very underrated, and people didn't think. My only way if Sterling was going to win, it was going to get him down. And if Sterling got to work on something, I'd work on your hands and the best way to set up your takedowns. You know,
Officer Rivera, it was an honor to have you.
Officer Rivera, exactly.
No, man, you gotta call me Deputy Chief.
Deputy
DC.
Chief Rivera.
Deputy Chief Rivera.
and listen, and tell your dad next to you, thank you for his service as well.
Oh my goodness, you are really going there.
You know what's so funny? That's me in like 21 years though, which is hilarious.
I appreciate it.
We get along so we have the same fucking mentality. It's funny.
Cool. Both you guys, thank you so much, man. And
no problem. Hey, when are you going on tour again?
I'm back in
Never?
Jersey. Yeah, no, I'm back in Jersey in May.
You better text me and let me know so I could come.
I absolutely will. You and your beautiful wife. Thank you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Have a good
Be
one.
safe, man.
Yeah.
You too. Good luck with everything, guys.
Thank you.
Definitely.
That guy's a
He's a badass, man. I honestly, I like what you said, but I think Sterling, if he does the rematch, I think he's gonna lose.
I don't know. I think the first one went so bad for him that I think he's got so much to learn. I can't see him doing worse, honestly. Like, that was the worst. I like Aljamain, but he's so much better than what I saw him there.
You think it was the nerves? It was that's a big light on you right then.
I think he moved his camp from Jersey from Long Island to Vegas. He's got a bunch of new coaches. I think he was trying too much. I think the kid's great. I think he's amazing. And I think he'll do better. I don't know if he'll win, but one judge had him winning the fight. I was like, I can't see him winning a round. Maybe the first round.
No, he won at least one round.
Maybe he won the first round, but he was getting like dropped, taken down, put on his back. I mean, that was not the Aljamain Sterling that I know he's capable and that we've seen in the past. And Peter Yan is that good. So I know people are like, you're hating on Peter Yan. You're not giving him the credit, blah, blah, blah. I'm not no disrespect to Peter Yan. He's amazing. Right now, I have him as the champ. I honestly think he's the legitimate champ.
Are you serious?
I don't think that's a win for Aljamain. I
got you. That's what you're saying.
Or maybe nobody's.
But he threw the knee, and that's the rules. I was going back and forth on UFC, on Facebook.
Yeah, okay, but I didn't see Aljamain winning that fight if he hadn't thrown the knee. He wasn't.
If he wouldn't, you're right. I agree. But I think that what it does is it sets him up for more money. That's what I said that too. It sets him up more money next fight, even though I think he's going to lose the belt. I really do.
I know people on YouTube got mad that I said and my inner warrior wouldn't let me win like that. I don't know what would have happened, okay, if I'm in that situation. Okay, obviously, I've never been as good as Aljamain was in anything at MMA, and who knows? I would like to believe that I wouldn't want to win like that, but who knows? I'd also be concussed and got knee to the fucking head. Who knows what decisions I'm going to come up with? So leave me alone. I'm fucking trying. All right, so here we go. We got Mikey Gordon here. This guy
Mikey Gordon
is have you ever met Mikey Gordon, Shang?
No, Mikey Gordon. When I see his face, I'll see.
Mikey Gordon is a hilarious comedian, indie wrestler, and movie star now. He came up with a movie. This guy, so I booked this guy at the Dime Bar, and he was hilarious. He's one of these dudes that he just has that it factor where he doesn't give a fuck if he's in front of 2 people or 5,000. He puts on a show, right? So we became friends. So he invites me to this independent wrestling event that he's boxing another comedian in. And it's during the pandemic. My wife's already pissed at me that I go down to this thing, right? So I drive down to San Diego. It's in a warehouse, right? There's all these people in a warehouse. And these wrestlers, I'm backstage. They all have their gimmicks. They're fighting with the crowd. The crowd's coming like, fuck you, motherfucker. They're cursing them back out. I don't know what's fake, what's not. It's insanity. Then halfway through it, they have a fire eater, a chick that the halftime show.
What?
Yeah, they had a woman that was blowing fire in everyone's faces. I'm like, this is what you want during a pandemic when they're telling everyone to wear masks. Not only we're taking the oxygen out of the fucking room. I'm worried this is going to be a Great White concert where the fucking whole thing blew up. I literally was hanging out in the back of the fucking, I left the room. I was in the back. I'm like, let me know when the fire's out, right? Then he goes out there and there's a comic they got into a feud. They used to open for each other. I don't know what the deal is. He's like, I'm going to box you. The guy comes in and I interview the guy. I'm like, have you boxed for? He's like, oh yeah, when I was 11, but I'm going to fuck this guy up, right? I'm like, so he comes out in a casket, right? He comes out in a casket, hops out, starts rapping. He has his own rap song. It's a 20-minute intro. The guy comes out, he knocks the fuck out of the guy out in 8 seconds with a jab, right? Then the guy comes up, the guy's concussed. The guy goes, wrestling's fake and you guys all fucking suck. Then he takes the mic, goes, get the fuck out of here, kicks him out. His wife kicks him out. The place goes ballistic. I've never seen anything like it before. And that was my experience with Mikey Gordon.
That sounds like some rock star shit, man.
Mikey, Mikey, what am I missing with this story?
Oh, can you hear me real well on this speaker? Is this good?
Yes.
Yeah, man. I've been. My mom was an independent pro wrestler back in the late '70s. I've watched all the WrestleManias. I've been an independent shitty wrestler for 20 years, and I seem to get myself into a bunch of stupid business ventures. The most recent of which is the movie that I had booked you for that I spent most of my life savings on, and it's called a pro wrestling movie, The Legend of Dirty Ron, and it's just like it's a story of me as a professional wrestler, but who cares about that? Let's talk about this fight. This fight was a long time coming. We were friends. We were friends. And we opened these shitty fucking shows for each other. I took them to shitty mics on the road, whatever the fuck. So this guy was talking all this shit. And I was like, dude, I know you think I'm a fake wrestler, but I can actually hold my own. Let's box. Let's make this fun. Let's make some money off this. So we put it on a little fucking live stream for $20. Sold a couple hundred of them. It was dope. And then it was over in 46 seconds because I came in there to train for real. As a fake wrestler, I came to train to box this guy, and people told me he was training to box, and it was over real quick. It was over real quick. The dancers was great, but Adam, you were fucking incredible. You were great on the film. It's been, it's great to know you. Shang, I've heard and seen you around for a hot minute now, long time. Pleasure to be on here with you guys. Long time fan of that podcast, and it's awesome to sit here and watch you guys talk MMA.
No, but it was hilarious. First of all, but you made it seem like you weren't training. Like you were taking videos of you taking bong hits, drinking. Right. You had a big beer gut. But then you came out there just ripped, shredded. But you were pacing around the room for 9 hours before the fight. I had to, and then you were also running the thing. You were instructing everybody. Halfway through it, the power went out. You had to have a guy with a generator. That I think you called some Mexican dude that came and fixed everything. It was insanity.
You call insanity. What's that?
Why did you guys get into beef? What made you get to the point where it's I might have to knock your ass out? Yeah.
Shang, you're a big guy. Adam, you're a wrestler. In the comedy world, sometimes people okay, let me back up. In wrestling and in fighting, you don't talk shit to your other friends unless they're your friends. And there's this hey, I could really kill you if I wanted to sort of vibe. And sometimes comedians get this, oh, I'm funny, so I can talk shit to anybody. And they don't know when the line's crossed. And it really came down to it. And that's what it was. It was disrespectful in a way that I'm hey, man, there's a line. In the world I come from, hey, man, if you fucking go the wrong way, I'm going to put you in a hold real quick and break that arm real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was a bet. We were all fucked up in Vegas, drinking, smoking, doing whatever, after a couple of fucking shitty bar shows. And he goes, I bet you I can do double the amount of pull-ups you can do. And I was like, Chris, you can't do half the amount of pull-ups I can do. So I rail the line, go downstairs, jump on the fucking pull-up bar. I bust out 28 pull-ups.
Wait, you did cocaine before this?
Yeah, hell yeah, why not? God damn it.
Right, okay.
Get pumped up. No, who knows what's real and who knows what's not. Anyway, I get up there, I do all these pull-ups, and 28 of them, and he can't even do 12. So he owed me $20, and then that's where the beef came from. $20.
So
I made a couple $1,000 pay-per-view and $20 bet, you schmuck. And I embarrassed the fuck out of him, so it was great.
No, you knocked him down with a jab. Your first jab landed, and then he was out. He was completely out. He didn't know where he was, which I couldn't believe. He actually said wrestling's fake, and you guys all suck, and then ran out of the arena. The guy's name is Chris. So
Espinoza, because, hey, man, I have a respect for boxing. I have a respect for fighting. I have a respect for everything that I've ever done, especially if I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when I get in there. So for him to have the balls to actually train or whatever he did, to get in the ring and actually fight somebody when you're in your mid-30s and never fought before, that takes some courage. And that's what I said to him afterwards. I was like, Chris, even though we don't like each other, good on you for fucking getting in there, man. You had balls. And then he took the mic and said, wrestling's fake, fuck you guys. And I was like, hey, man, now I really,
But it was in front of all wrestling fans. He said wrestling's fake. And
this guy he deserved to get knocked out then.
Well, everybody started booing him. But it was one of the most, and then there were all these guys with dad bods. that were wrestlers, and they were doing crazy flips. But then at one point, this is where I kind of had to stop. I was really into it. Then these guys started stapling each other's heads. They took a staple, and they had mouse traps, right? They had like 50 mouse traps on a table, and a guy took another guy and put him on the table, and all the mouse traps went off. And then people were like gushing blood, and I'm filming this, and I'm showing my wife. And my wife's angry because I'm like, look what I saw today. And she's like at a kid's party with my daughter, and I'm like, no, but look at the mouse traps. And like she didn't talk to me for like 3 days. Like, this is what you're risking our lives for during a pandemic. I'm like, but those guys were like, I give you guys so much credit because they don't look like they can do flips and fucking mouse traps and all this other. And they're great athletes. Like, holy shit.
You know, well, Adam, you know, like sometimes heavyweight wrestlers, you look at them and they may look unassuming, but it's like, what muscle mass is underneath that, you know?
Right.
And wrestlers, you know, professional wrestlers, I have so much respect for what wrestlers do, and that, you know, I'm not trying to promote the movie, Hella, but the reason that I wanted to showcase wrestlers in the film that I did, a pro wrestling movie, is that wrestlers do have a lot of talent outside of the ring. We're doing comedy, improv, stunts, you know, drama, all that in one take in front of an audience 360 degrees around us in our sweaty underwear, you know? So like there's a lot of respect, and I think that wrestlers have a lot of things to show outside of the ring. What does The Undertaker do on a Tuesday? What does John Cena do on Thursday? And that's what, you know, I want to showcase.
Now, how did you get so good at wrestling? Did you go to wrestling camp, or did you train, or like did you go to like school?
Absolutely. You know, and when people are like, oh, I just want to get in there and wrestle one match, you know, I think, you know, and honestly, like you have to train so much because it's like a dance. You got to learn the dance because so many professional wrestlers, one small move the wrong way from a guy that's been doing it every day, somebody could be paralyzed, somebody could die, you know, so you kind of got to know what you're doing. And I run a little training in San Diego. We do comedy shows on the weekend and wrestling on the weekend. Katie Quigley's going to be here this weekend. Sam Tripoli's coming here next month. I definitely got to get you guys down in the spot. But, you know, I forgot where I was going. I got off.
So you actually run a camp? You actually train wrestlers?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've been wrestling for 20 years, and it's something you got to learn. You got to learn how to fall. Your whole life you've learned not to fall. So you got to learn how to fall correctly, how to not get hurt doing that, and how to think on your feet if some shit goes fucked up, because you can't stop. Oh, cut. Let's reshoot that. You know,
right.
Yeah.
You got to keep going.
I fought 300-pound dudes over the weekend. You know, like, are you fucked? You know, but what I'm saying, like, you have a dude, you're picking him up. You know.
Now, did you work with Chris Lieben? You guys work together?
Yeah, I've had him involved in a couple shows down here. You know, I think it was right before he started back up with bare knuckle fighting that we were discussing getting him in to wrestle. And he came down to a couple shows, did a couple things in ring with some of our wrestlers. And then BKFC started taking off, and he lives right here in Ocean Beach, where I run my little school, Ocean Beach, San Diego. So I hope to get the cripple out here again. Wrestling's a great way for fighters to showcase what they've got, you know?
Now, there was a guy. Now, you're so good at cutting promos. Like, holy fuck. Like, I learned a lot that week. I mean, the fact that you were, like, boxing somebody, you were fighting somebody, you never who knew how good of a fighter he was, you know? You were running the promotion. You were wrestling in the promotion. And you were in charge of, like, ticket sales. They were selling marijuana downstairs. I think they were selling edibles. Okay. Okay, they were allegedly selling marijuana.
That was a snitch move there, Adam.
They were allegedly selling marijuana downstairs. You were doing ticket sales. You were doing the marijuana. You were in charge of the pay-per-view. You had to do the numbers. You were writing the promo. I mean, you were doing all this shit while cutting promos. I'm like, and you got your wife there. You got your friends. You got wrestlers that are coming in. Some people are late. Some of them are not. Your partner's yelling at people. Like, it's like all this shit going on. I'm like, dude, you're fighting. You're wearing like 30 fucking hats. And I was like, wow. Like, it was pretty cool to see, you know, and obviously you're passionate about it. So that helps. But, man, you're not, I wouldn't say you're bad at delegating things, but holy fuck, you had put it all on yourself.
You know, it's you found me in a weird spot because we just had recently started a new class of students. So my new students weren't really, they weren't all up to date on what to do. So now, over the last few months since that fight, we were able to delegate a lot of things. But what are you talking about, Adam? You're the biggest hustling dude out there.
I know.
You hustle. You do hustle, man.
I do hustle, but it's a different kind of hustle. But I hear you. But then after you won, you cut a promo. So I guess there's a wrestler that I used to be a fan of because I thought the guy was pretty funny because the guy basically would make other wrestlers grab his penis and then he would like move his hip and then like his penis would like take people out. He had like it was the gayest, funny, like Shang. It was pretty funny. And like,
I don't know what.
But like women were grabbing his penis.
watching?
The guy would swing his cock and knock people out with his cock. Like I swear, and I guess.
Are you sure you were watching a promo cut or something else?
I guess when the Me Too thing happened, I bought the guy's T-shirt. It said Independent. I have a shirt from the guy. So then when the Me Too thing happened, I guess all these people came out and said he did some fucked up shit to them. I don't really know the whole story, so I'm allegedly blah, blah, blah. But Ron wants to fight him. Or Mikey. I don't know if I should call you Dirty Ron or Mikey. And you keep calling this guy out. Tell me what's going on with you and this guy.
Well, okay. So inside wrestling, we all have to trust each other. You have to literally trust your life in the hands of somebody that you might have met 20 minutes ago. And that's one of the reasons you have to be trained in order to be a professional wrestler is that you have to be basically certified. It's more than just like, oh, this comedian's funny. Cool. No, you have to trust somebody's fucking life in your hands. So, like, I don't really want to talk on the allegations, but there were a fucking lot of them. And this guy, he was supposed to be a proponent. Like, he was
What's his name? What's his name?
Joey Ryan.
Joey Ryan.
And he's supposed to be the face of intergender wrestling. Like, he was the major proponent for guys and girls not only wrestling each other, but guys and girls tag teaming and wrestling other tag teams. He was the male face of women's integration and like the women's revolution in wrestling. So, like, he is the fucking poster boy for women's wrestling, okay? And then whatever happened, here's what I know for a fact. We were at a show in San Diego about 2 years ago. My wife was on the show in the women's locker room because that's where women change. I'm in the men's locker room because that's where men change. However, Joey Ryan, who was on the show, was in and walking naked around the women's locker room. Weird. 2019. Weird. Very weird. I booked the guy. So, like, it was just like, okay, that's odd, right? Okay, whatever. Okay, you're friends with women, but that's a little odd, all right? And then a year later comes, and then fucking a bunch of people are saying some fucked up shit, and that's like, oh. So if this fucking predator thinks that he's going to come back into professional wrestling and be in like, I don't care who books the guy. If we're supposed to trust this guy, like, I'll fly myself to whatever podunk shithole fucking books this dumb fuck, and I'm gonna knock his dick so hard his fucking mustache hits the dirt. All right, like he does not deserve to be in wrestling. He has made his living off of wrestling, and there's no way that wrestling can let him make a living off of it anymore. After may or may not have been a predator. So like, whatever. Fuck that dude.
Yeah. So you've been calling him out. Has he responded?
Absolutely not. So, I'm on the Wrestling Observer podcast tomorrow, and that's the number one wrestling podcast. So I'm going to slip that one in there.
Got it. So,
he was just...
you said there's a lot of allegations. So a combination of the allegations plus the shit he did walking around the women's locker room, doesn't that kind of confirm that he's kind of a creepoid?
I mean, I'm telling you, more than double digits of women had stories that they came out with. So who knows the stories that didn't come out, speaking out in professional wrestling, because it is weird. It is, you are almost naked, in there grinding up against, people that you may or may not know, who, whatever sexual orientation it is, that's their own prerogative. But, if you can't trust the people that you're in there with your life, and being on the road or being in a hotel room alone with them or being in a car alone with them, then, like, get the fuck out of the business.
Didn't people not want to wrestle him because they didn't want to grab his cock?
I booked him a lot, and I never booked myself against him because I did not want to touch the guy's cock, correct? But people liked it, so I was like, fuck yeah, I'll book it, right?
Right.
People liked it.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Like like people have seen this clip. It's pretty it's viral. Like the story. Here's the story. So he was wrestling in Japan, and this Japanese wrestler would grab Japanese wrestlers' dicks, and they're small dicks, right? So he would like, oh, look, I got your dick. But then this Japanese guy wrestled Joey Ryan, the American with the big dick, and he grabbed Joey Ryan's dick, and his dick was big American dick, so it was so powerful that he was like, look at my big dick, and then he flipped him over with his dick. So that clip wasn't even his move. It was the other guy's move that he reversed, and it went viral. So he was like, fuck it, I'm living off this.
He stole the dick move. What a dick move. Now, okay, so you write this movie, right? You write this movie, and I read the script, and I was like, this is great. It's a great movie. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's different. I never read anything like it before. You're starring in it. You're like, Adam, I want you to be in it. I'm like, dude, I'm in, bro. You're a hustler. I respect you. I love what you're about. I'm in. Then you're like, Rob Van Dam's in it, and Jay's, and then and then other people are in it, right? Some funny comedians. Who are some of the other people? Who?
Jeremiah Watkins, Frank Castillo, they're both in it.
Yeah.
Eric Mack. I know he does some stuff up in LA. But the whole message behind the movie is like, it's a movie for pro wrestling fans by pro wrestling fans. And we've hired over 20 current and former professional wrestlers from Victoria, former WWE Women's Champion, Katie Forbes, who's got 1 million followers for her twerking ass on Instagram, who's Rob Van Dam's wife. Effie, who's the main protagonist. He's a big proponent of the LGBT community and, does a lot for those, for the LGBTQ community inside of professional wrestling. That was important to me too, is that getting a bunch of people that were self-made, is that people that made a name for themselves outside of a major wrestling company or outside of a major comedy conglomerate. Adam, I know you put out a pilot. I've seen your fucking the ambush comedy shit. Like fucking people that go out there and hustle and try to make a name for themselves and don't rely on, hey, look, I did enough work to get me there. Let the producers make it happen. I wanted to be with hustlers.
Right. So I did it. It was hilarious. We had a great day of shooting, and I'm like, I saw the first couple days of shooting. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. So we ran out of money. Right? Is that what happened?
Well, okay, so it's basically independent wrestling, and if you've ever seen independent wrestling, it's shot with like a couple cameras and a couple lights. So coming from the indie wrestling world, that's what I thought we were going to do. The director is a good friend of mine who shot a lot of wrestling. So we thought, hey, fucking $10,000, $15,000, run and gun, let's shoot this thing, let's put together a fucking movie that indie wrestling fans will appreciate. It's never going to make Netflix, it's never going to make Hulu. That's not our plan. We want to give wrestling fans wrestling shit. But then it was like, all right, well, let's add a lighting guy. Let's add a fucking, let's add an actual, a DP. Let's get some good camera equipment on there. And then it went from a $10,000 project to a $50,000 project. And, I'm not made of money. So I ran out of money. We getting all these extra angles and coming in not prepared got us to where we're at. But hey, I didn't know how to box before last October either. So
the funniest is I walk into the set and they're like, there's like in like the scene, you guys are smoking weed. And then all of a sudden there was like a timeout. And I'm like, what's the matter? And then like the crew got upset because everyone's getting too high. Because you guys were using, okay, we can't talk about that. All right, we'll cut this part out. Oh.
No, fine. I was just saying, like, how stupid is that? Like, it's a stoner comedy. We're getting high. We got a content.
So it was hilarious. So we're like, okay, anyway, so how much money do we need to complete the film?
Well, realistically, our Indiegogo has a $50,000 limit, and we're trying to get as close as we can to that. Realistically, what Indiegogo does is it gives you all your money regardless if you reach your goal or not. So the closer we get to that goal, I think regardless that the wrestling community is going to support this thing, small as $10 donations getting on here. And, I think it's going to. And regardless, even if we don't hit our goal, I'm not going to stop hustling. I'm going to finish this movie, and I'm going to keep making wrestling-related movies for a long time to come. Like Blake Troop, who's, an MMA fighter. I got him in there. And I'd love to get more MMA guys, because fighting and fighters, they have so much to offer outside the ring. Look at, let's bring it back to MMA. All the best guys in MMA knew how to talk. They had pro wrestling characteristics inside of them. So the people that do that in the fighting world, they need to be showcased outside the ring, man. They got more to offer than a couple of pops, you know? Fucking, let's get everybody out there and show everybody what the world can do, you know, inside the fighting world.
No,
you're right. Conor McGregor is the one I think that really shit talking and Chael Sonnen.
All right, so I think Muhammad Ali. So where can I donate? If people watching this, where can I go to help get this movie made?
At A Pro Wrestling Movie, all over social media, aprowrestlingmovie.com, Indiegogo. I mean, you search hashtag Dirty Ron Movie, hashtag A Pro Wrestling Movie. It's pretty easy to find if you're looking for it. You know, we're just trying to get it out there to as many, you know, as many people as we can, many pro wrestling fans, many stoners, you know, and have the community support it.
And now, listen, I gotta say, your wrestling event was amazing. Like, I would go to that if that was every week, and I was free that night. I would go to every week. That was the most entertaining shit I've seen in a long time. Your comedy's great, but so if I live in San Diego and I want to go to your event, because you seem to be you do them every day or something. Every time I see you, there's an event. So when's this event?
So we put out a weekly episode of Get Fisted TV. It's something I produce, do the voiceovers. I make funny commercials. I just put out a Donald Trump's Pro Wrestling School commercial on last week's episode. But each week we put out like a 20-minute episode of our wrestling, and we have live shows on the first and third Saturday every month down here at the Fuck House in San Diego, Ocean Beach. Funny underground comedy. See if I can switch my camera around. There it is, the Fuck House.
The Fuck House.
That's awesome.
Now you said after your fight, after you beat Chris Espinoza, who seemed like a nice guy, by the way. I seem to like the guy. We actually I actually reached after the fight. I reached out to him because I'm like, hey man, you got in there, keep your head up. And I think he was like, you know, he's not a bad guy. I just think that don't fight unless you're actually trained to fight. Don't get into a fucking fight. Okay, that's really the lesson here. Now. But you said all these comics were hitting you up wanting to fight you.
Yeah.
Who's your next fight going to be against?
No, I don't know, man. It is fun. It's addictive. It's addicting to get in there, you know, because like that when the bell rang, that was the first time I've been in a ring in 20 years where I didn't know what was going to happen for the next 20 minutes. You know, I was like, oh shit, there's a real fight. You know, like. Oh, let's get in there and let's fucking do this thing, you know. I would love to fight again. You know, we have the ring down here at the Fuck House. But I don't want to go out there and just fight anybody. I want to try to make some money and make it fun. You know, that's what I tried to do with Chris. I was like, Chris, we did these couple of interviews, couple of Zooms. I was like, Chris, amp it up. I'm being an asshole. I'm coming in. I'm not trying to train. Look at me. I'm a cool guy. I'm fucking, you know, slick dick McGrick. And, you know, like, fucking, hey, man, be sympathetic, Chris. You know, like let's make some money out of this. Let's build some sympathy. That's what wrestling and that's what comedy is. It's a manipulation of emotions. You know, and if we could have done that in the fight, and if I can do that with anybody, if somebody's gonna go out there and play the role of the opposite of what I'm trying to do, then let's fucking make some money. Let's go out there and fight for real, but let's go out there and make some money. You know, that's what the fight game is. If it was a fight so nice, I'd love to do it twice. If Chris was smart enough to make this decent, where there was a reason for a second fight, why wouldn't we do it again?
No, I don't want to see that. No, it's not gonna. I would have to. It have to be. I think they have to add another fighter, like Chris and somebody else against you. Like I'm not.
Kidding. Are there other comedians? I'd love to host a comedy like celebrity boxing kind of thing.
But I honestly think like if Chris and another comic that doesn't like you wants to fight you, that would make it fair. I'm not even kidding. Or like two other comics. Because I don't see any comics beating you, like maybe Rogan or someone. But like, as far as he's a fucking Ron's a big dude. Like I don't know. I don't see many comics. Maybe Stephen Briggs is a boxer, but I just see like you giving people a hard time. Like holy fuck. Like yeah, it was awesome. What?
But if you do it, you got to get with somebody that knows how to fucking promote and make some bread. End of the day, it's like talk some shit, get some cash.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it.
Yeah,
without it, you know, we had a capacity of like 80 people at that warehouse, and we sold out all the tickets in 2 days. And then we started selling pay-per-views, and I sold, a little over 200 of them to my friends and family, I guess, and, whoever wanted to see it for $20. And, we put together a really good promotion for the whole thing. I did a fucking diss track, taped a music video. It was I did a version of a WAP. I called him weak ass pussy. I was like, and I was like, I'll fucking Molly wop this mop, fucking you a weak ass pussy. I fucking wrote a whole diss track to him. Like, right. It was awesome. I'd love to do it again. It was great. It was so much fun. It gave me something different. And to do inside of wrestling, I love to create. I love to make new shit and try new things. And, sometimes you fucking get yourself into a hole. And, whatever, I'll dig it out.
Well, listen, Mikey, thanks for coming on the show.
Man, you're an inspiration like a mug, man. That is good shit. No shit, man. It's like, yo, man, let's get after it and go out there and make some fucking loot. Chris probably didn't know how to really push it. Dude, if he would have pushed it, you could have made more loot.
Dude, I heard he didn't know where he was for like a couple hours afterwards. Like he didn't even know what happened.
Have you ever been knocked out, Adam? By
a car.
I've been knocked out. I've been. You get wheel kicked in the head. You don't know where you are for a couple days.
Yeah, but yeah, he should have. At the end of the day, he should have said, "You know what? Thanks for the opportunity. I gave him my best. Good job. Not wrestling's fake, and you guys are all idiots." Although that was fucking hilarious. I gotta say, it was funny.
It was awesome because I got to fucking knock his water bottle out and fucking be like, get the fuck out of here. And my wife grabbed him by the fucking back and was like, get the fuck out. It was
but that was real. That wasn't scripted. That they really threw him out.
100%. Like, hey man, I had that speech ready because I felt like the fight was going to go the way that I thought, the way that it did. And then I had that speech ready because I did have respect for Chris. I have respect for boxing, and I respected it so much that I lost 12 pounds in the last 3 days to get down to weight for this thing. And I busted my fucking ass, got in the best shape of my life at 37 years old. And, and I had to respect that. I had to respect Chris. And I told him that, I had it all thought out, and, I really did. And then he's to grab the mic and be a cunt and fucking be like, fucking wrestling's fake and I hate it. It's just like that cool, but you just got knocked out by a fake wrestler.
So where can people
exactly
if people want to watch that event, where can they watch that event?
It's called Brawl for It All. Brawl for It All. I hashtag your name in it. Hashtag Brawl for It All at Fist Combat TV. Whatever. I hate plugging my own shit because eventually I feel like I'm gonna do enough shit that people are just gonna find it on their own. Whatever, man. Fucking dude, Adam, Shang, dude. I appreciate you guys for having me on this shit because just getting the word out, man, I don't care if 5 or 500,000 people are listening to me right now or ever. I'm a goddamn entertainer, whether it's wrestling, boxing, comedy, fucking pulling my dick out and swinging around like a cartwheel. I don't give a shit. I'm out here to have a good time. I'm motherfucking having people.
Well, thank you very much, man. Take it here. Mikey, be good, brother.
Hey, what do I do?
Thanks.
Shane, can't wait to see you in person, man.
Yo, man, I'm going out now, so I'll come down there for sure. That sounds amazing.
All right, that was fucking hilarious. How funny is that guy?
Hey, man, I like his energy though. Come on, you like it? His energy is great.
I like that guy. That guy kills me, dude. I'm like, it's like he has an infectious energy, but I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now between comics fighting? I was like, what?
But you know what? People actually. Well, we've gotten in fight with. You've gotten in physical confrontations with comics. I've gotten confrontations with audience members. Yeah. I've never fought a comic, but I have got.
It was one of the craziest, most surreal events, though. But that dude, I'm telling you, I've always liked wrestling, but indie wrestling is a whole different thing. Like I used to go to WWF back when it was called that, and it was super organized and it was but this indie wrestling is it's crazy. I mean, it's fun, but you're like, what is going on? It's just.
It's more extreme. It's way more extreme.
ADHD. It's times. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, but it was. Yeah, that was fun though. So anyway, I asked you about high school before because I got in this. So I went to a place called Hyde School. I went to boarding school, which was like a school in Maine for kids who had too much energy. They needed to like refocus it.
Right.
Everyone's parents threatened to send them to boarding school. My parents actually did send me to boarding school. My sister went there, and I'm thankful I went there. I was a lost kid. I was running away from the house. I was causing problems. I was getting into fights. I was getting bullied. I was bullying other kids. It was horrible. And then I went there, and it saved my life. But there's a group called like Your Ridiculous Hyde Memories, because the school is in Bath, Maine, and I have all these recollections of things that happened to me in boarding school that I never share with anybody. But now I have because it was so out there. The school was like, you couldn't lie, steal, cheat, drink, have sex. If you got caught doing that, you'd wake up at 5:30 and do a crazy workout. You had to like eat by yourself. You had a proctor. You had to move rocks all day.
What is this, the Handmaid's Tale? What the fuck?
You had to move rocks all day. And then like you got 2 grades, one for your effort, one for your achievement, and then they average it together. I didn't learn that what I really should have learned in a lot of like things. I learned like character development. It was a character development school versus like I wish I would have learned more like science and math and accounting, but I learned how to be like a good person and to tell the truth, which is obviously better in the long run.
Right.
You know? But so some of the things that I've been posting, like I don't know if people are going to enjoy this, but I'm like that time a faculty member stood up at a school meeting and announced, I have herpes to the entire school. I'm still not sure why I told everyone. It was during announcements. So they used to have school meetings where like kids would talk about how they were like struggling with this or struggling with that or had image issues or where they were abandoned, like these really deep traumatic experiences. And
he's got herpes.
Yeah, so a guy set up and goes, I have herpes and it's hard to get dates. And it was just fucking awkward. Like the kids were like, huh? Like, and then people did an impression of him for like 3 years because he had like a thick accent. Dude, it was one of the funniest, like, but I'm like, why did he just tell everyone he had herpes? Like I was like 14. So that was like one thing I shared. He goes, another one I go, my senior year, there was a calculus teacher, right? Who was also giving school tours, right? So he could never make it to class. So he comes in and says, write a paper on anything and leaves. So for the next 3 weeks, I wrote a paper on the Ebola virus for calculus. I never even got the grade for it, but that's what I learned in calculus. So like I thought that was kind of funny. Like that was another one. It didn't matter how sick you were.
What a weird school.
It didn't matter how sick you were, what you were suffering from. The nurse would give you a Coca-Cola and tell you that you didn't need to be on bed rest. So you could be like, you'd have a broken leg. You'd go in there and she'd give you a Coke. And then like 60 people were like either like this or talked about how like, yeah, they went in there with like a fucking ankle. They gave you a Coke. Like this literally like, was what happened. Like then I put like, I go, oh yeah. And then I go, my 8th grade year, the captain of the wrestling team told everyone the previous year they were on the wrestling van and they had oranges and they would share it with each other. And so they were all fingering an orange. And they go, whoa, this kind of like feels like a pussy. So the kid went home to the dorm, had sex with the orange, and it like fell apart. He said it was terrible. So the whole season, everyone was like, hey, Jay, and threw him an orange. Like, hey, and then he got angry.
Well, he's the one fucking oranges. So what did he expect?
Then there was like kids in my class that like, so they would get boners, right, in class. You know, your high school, you get boner. And they would do dick push-ups, right? And kids would count how many dick push-ups they do. So middle of Spanish class, you'd hear a kid yell, 42. And you knew he just did like 40, like, so like in the middle of kids would announce how many dick push-ups they did.
What kind of weird fucking school? I went to Wilkinsburg. I went to Brooklyn Tech, and none of that shit happened. But other than deadly fights, that was the only thing because people were very like, a fight could turn into, oh shit, he's gonna shoot up the whole playground. Dude, that's why I was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Then there was a kid, the toughest kid on this kid Joe Ferlat. I love the kid. He was like 19 years old as a senior, but I think he had been in like, he was from Oakland. He might have been in some gangs. Like he was like legit, like the toughest kid I ever met. Half black, freaking great kid. I loved him. But there was a time everyone in lacrosse, like they're like, everyone bring it in. Everyone's like, good practice. He goes, fuck that. That wasn't a good practice. Someone's like, yeah, it was. He goes, no, hell no. And then he threw down his helmet and goes, I'll fight this whole fucking team right now. And everyone just sat on a knee, including the coach, and was like, nobody wanted to fight this kid.
Wait a minute. They could have jumped him, and they still.
No one wanted to be the first one getting knocked out. Like, yeah, eventually we would have gotten him, but he would have taken out 3 or 4 kids at once.
What kind of warrior fucking did they throw you guys in a pit? Lacrosse or die? I mean,
dude. Then there were 2 kids. There were 2 kids in my school who were juniors, beyond obnoxious. They're the most obnoxious kids. At the end of the year, it came out that they were embezzling money from the local charity, the kids' charity. They were having sex with each other. They painted the staircase yellow, and they took a dump in the senior's book bag. And during study hall, the kid that was proctoring reached in and got shit all over his hand. I never saw those kids again after that year. But that really
you sound like a bunch of delinquents. That's what you sound like. I feel like it should have been called the Delinquents. That's the name of that script, the Delinquents.
Dude, then there was a kid on the wrestling team that wanted to get out of it, so because they made you wrestle. If you had a bad attitude, you were on the wrestling team. You had to play a sport every season, and it was usually the sport you didn't want to play. A kid got ringworm. Another kid paid that kid $50 to give him ringworm so he can get out of wrestling.
Okay, yeah, no. My high school was not that exciting, and I think my pops wanted to keep me away from so much shit that I didn't have as much fun as I now when I went to college, I said I'm gonna make up for all this shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens to every kid. So then my senior year, there was a curse jar in the lounge, right? Every time someone cursed, they had to put money in the jar. So within a week, someone stole all the money, right? So then everybody had to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing push-ups and sprawls and sprints and wall sits till they admitted they stole the money, right? For like an hour every night, to the point where half the kids were like, I took the money, even though we know they didn't, and nobody believed them. They just wanted to stop doing calisthenics. And then we never actually found out who took the money. Like, so that legitimately
Have
happened.
you thought of writing a script for this? I'm not joking.
Dude, then there was a kid in my school who did a cartwheel in the middle of a school meeting, followed by a 2-hour debate on whether or not it was appropriate to do a cartwheel in the school meeting. Like, this actually, that legitimately happened. Then there was the time the wrestling team, we got sent to Nebraska for wrestling camp, right? So we got the shit beaten out of them. They even said the first day, all state champions stand up. I stood up because I was state champion. I was a Maine state champion. I didn't realize that when you wrestle Nebraska state champions, and it's a whole different level. Because I got the
right.
So the whole time, the counselor was like, the end of the last practice is going to be the white flag practice. Practice from hell. Practice from hell. We're going to break you guys. So that practice, I go to the bathroom and I see someone on my team. I go, hey, what's up, John? My entire team said, hi, Adam. They were all hiding in the bathroom stalls the whole practice. One kid took a book and read a book for 2 hours, right, in the bathroom stall instead of going to this practice. Then when there was like 3 seconds left, the kid put his head into the sink, put water all over it, came out and did sprawls faster than everybody. And the guy was like, that kid wants it. Meanwhile, he was like,
he was a cheater.
Fucking beyond the cheater. Then there was a time, so the kids ran, every time the Grateful Dead came to Boston, 30 kids would run away. At least 30 kids would follow the Dead, come back, be put on work crew. So there was a time they had an LL Bean. You ever hear LL Bean, the store? So they had their factory store was in Brunswick, Maine. So a couple kids ran away and lived in the tents that were in LL Bean for a couple days till they got found out. Like on the 3rd floor, they had like tents, display tents. Kids were living there.
What the fuck? This was high school?
This was high school. Then there was a time where like a kid kept shitting in the dorm, in like the bathroom on the floor. They call him the phantom shitter, right? So they were like, you guys all have to work out till somebody turns himself in. So a kid went to the dorm parents' door to turn himself in, got nervous, took a shit on the front patio, ran away. And so he took a shit on the fucking dorm parents' patio. That legitimately happened. And then we had a lacrosse coach who was a janitor who they let practice, who ran away from the school. So the guy was smoking weed with like 10 kids on the team. And then he refused to come back. So we had a teacher run away from the school. So
this is the craziest shit I've heard in quite a while.
Dude, so then there was a time during a weekend where like parents came up to talk to the whatever. So it was a football game. So this kid, this very famous sculptor who got kicked out of every seminar named Harry Jackson, He had stuff in the White House. So he was in World War II. And he had like a battle cry, yelling, Tarawa. His kid didn't even play. He was yelling, Tarawa, Tarawa. That was his war cry, right? On the side of the field. So everyone's just like, who the fuck? So Jim Belushi, his son went there. So he tells the guy, hey, shut up, stop screaming. So they got into a fight on the sidelines, right? So they were like pushing each other, Jim Belushi and this crazy sculptor. Then that kid that challenged the whole team to a fight came and had to break it up. And then he almost fought Jim Belushi. This is during the football game. Yeah, so those were some funny Hyde memories that I wrote down. I thought I would share with you.
You gotta. Okay, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Zach, to take those instances and put them in the script would be funny.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
You just gotta have a linear line through but those are funny instances that if you saw them in a movie, you would laugh.
Dude, it was crazy. And the teacher, my English teacher was great, but he was he did back in the day, he did LSD with Larry Miller, back the comic. He went to Brown with him. He was a crazy guy. This guy, but he would love it when you connected the movie Blue Velvet to the new Nirvana song to your high school wrestling match to Shakespeare and put it all in one essay. He'd be like, oh, this is brilliant. So I would always do that. I get to college. First day, I my papers due. I do all this. My teacher gives me a D and writes back, were you on drugs? And if so, can you get me some? And then I had to pretend I was going to get her weed the entire thing. And then I got a good grade. But this was fucking whatever. So anyway, I wanted to share some of this.
I wish my high school was better. I wish I had people, I wish I had more stuff, but it was as soon as I would come out of school, my pops would be there are you ready? Let's go. And I was like, motherfucker. No. So when I got after 12, in fact, I didn't even go to my graduation because I was so pissed off because I felt well, man, I can do what the fuck I want now. Yeah. And that's when I went a little bonkers. But my high school, I was very regimented, very go home, do what I got to do. I wish I'd have had more crazy. You had so much crazy.
Dude,
people taking shits in the fucking on the porch.
This is only the funny stuff. It got really dark. There was some really, really dark stuff, and that's what kind of I'm just trying to put the fun. One day I got to just sit down and talk about it because it's insane. And it keeps coming back. And then I'm writing this stuff and I'm tagging the people that did that. There were 2 kids in my dorm. They rented the movie Blown Away back when Nicole Eggert was the hottest thing in the world, and she was maybe or something. And then they charged people to watch it in the dorm, and that led to a 4-hour debate on whether or not that was legal to charge kids to a softcore porn basically in a dorm. And so I'm writing the time that they did, and then I'm tagging them, and now they're all lawyers or this, and everyone's talking about people are still saying whether or not it's continuing now.
Well, can you get all of those people as order? No, you know what I'm saying? It's a documentary. So hey, weren't you the kid that shit on the porch? I'm telling you, I'd watch that. I'd fucking watch that.
There was a kid that took a shit in Rite Aid in aisle 5. He got drunk, and then they put a sign saying "No hide kids," but he actually took a shit in the toilet paper section. So that was and he got, anyway, listen, that was our podcast today. Shang, you're the best. We've had people say I've had fans of the podcast say, listen, thank you for introducing me to Shang. I watched his special. It was great. So Amazon, where can people watch the special?
Oh yeah. I'm on Amazon Prime. If you have regular Amazon, you can't watch it. You got to pay for it. But if you have Amazon Prime, it's free. It's called Shang is Shangri 2021. And make sure you check it out. And if you do like it, review it, write a review, and rate it. Because that's how you keep in the top, I guess, algorithm. But so far, it's going extremely, extremely well. Thank everybody that's been watching it. And a lot of people have been watching it.
A lot of people talking dude, thank you for Shang. It was awesome. You can watch my special, Adam Hunter, also on Amazon, Still Broke. And I have a special on Fight Pass, Adam Hunter throwing punches on Fight Pass.
The Fight Pass one is the one But I think that's so unique. Remember I told you that's the most unique. I've never seen it, and there's no comic that's done that.
Yeah, and I got a second one coming out, so I'm gonna film that pretty soon, hopefully. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jimmie Rivera. Thank you, Dirty Ron or Mikey.
Dirty Ron. It's Dirty Ron.
Thank you,
Dirty Ron, Mikey.
You guys are great. Shang, have a good weekend, brother.
All right, man. Have a good weekend.